All right, if everybody could have a seat. Come on in, everybody. Hope you had an opportunity to grab the agenda as you came in. I'd like to call to order the Apex Town Council meeting, regularly scheduled meeting for September 5th, 2017. And I'd like to refer to Council Member Wilkie for the invocation tonight.
If you'll bow with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the blessings that you give to us. We thank you for the blessing to meet here openly and freely. We thank you for the opportunity to worship as we please and to go to school and have an education so that we can make wise decisions. We ask for your help tonight, dear God, for the hurricane victims, for the victims of natural disasters, for those that are sick and those that are dealing with personal issues. Please give them comfort and grant them peace. And dear God, as always, we ask for safety for our soldiers here at home and abroad. And we ask for many blessings on us tonight as we worship, as we come together. And we hope that we can feel your presence in this room as we make decisions. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome you all to the Town Council meeting tonight. Before we get into everything properly, I'd like to point out a couple of things, points of order. First of all, if you intend to speak during one of the public hearings tonight, please make sure you have the yellow guideline sheet. If you did not get it, I don't mind at all if you want to get up and run out to the podium out in the hall there and grab one of those sheets. But it gives you the guidelines on how to do your public speaking tonight during the public hearing. There is a 3-minute time limit. There's a few guidelines there to guide you. Secondly, if you intend to speak, we will need your name on one of these yellow sheets, not just any one, but the specific one that you want to speak at. They're labeled number 1, number 2, number 3, etc., so make sure you sign up on the correct one. The town clerk will be collecting those in about 5 to 8 minutes, so please feel free to get up and walk over in the middle of the beginnings here to go ahead and get your name on the appropriate sheet. I will be reading from those lists when it comes to public hearing time. All right, with that said, I'd like to now move into the time of presentations. We have 2 presentations tonight. The first one is by Graham Wilson of the Apex Sunrise Rotary Club to speak on the Peak City Pig Fest 2017. Mr. Wilson.
Great. Well, thank you, Mayor Olive and Council. I just wanted to have an opportunity for just a few minutes to bring you up to date on how this year's Pig Fest went, since you give us such great support, both in body and in resources, so we appreciate that. First of all, again this year our title sponsor was Bone Sucking Sauce, which is a Raleigh-based company, family-owned company, and they've come in big time as a sponsor for us, and we really appreciate it. We've got them pictured. Armed and Hammered is one of the Apex cook teams that has competed with us since year 1, and it was good to have them back with us this year. This year, attendance was down. As you know, both Friday night and then part of Saturday we had rain. So we figured we had about 18,000 people this year over the 2 days. That was fine because we still financially did well. We figured we made about $38,000 or $39,000, which we think with the down crowd and with the weather, especially on Friday night, was a great effort. So just a little history. This kind of gives you an idea over the 6 years of the event. Our first one was in 2012, and we've since increased the number of teams. And then last year we had our top attendance ever because we had pretty incredible weather. And again, this year, I've done events for 25 years, and I know there's always a risk when you do an outside event that you're going to have to deal with weather. And this was our year. So we got by 5 years without that, and this year we got some. This year's team that won was Old Colony Smokehouse out of Edenton, North Carolina. This was their first grand championship, and this qualified them to go to the American Royal National Championship in Kansas City. And the guys were real excited. Our total prize money, about $13,000 that the teams competed for this year. Again, the town's cooperation is incredible. Drew Havens and his staff worked with us with the banners, and then, of course, we had several of you, Mayor Pro Tem Dozier, you're there judging the Anything But contest. We had several of you participate on Friday night, participating in that, and then Town Manager Drew Havens was a barbecue judge on Saturday. We made him a certified barbecue judge, and guys, we can do the same for you. So just, Drew can tell you how much fun it is. But we really do appreciate the support, the resources. I'll tell you, especially on Friday night, with the heavy rains, we had several cook teams that lost power late in the night because of the rain. I was on the phone with your electrician like at 10:30 at night, and he was getting people out there to get these cook teams straight. So we really do appreciate everything the town does, both on Friday night and all day Saturday, as well as the preparation that you help us with throughout the planning process. So we do appreciate that. The biggest thing, of course, is the riveting contest between the police department and the fire department. This year, the police department won again. I know the fire chief is here. I have to tell you, there was some serious trash talk going on behind me between you and the police chief during the competition. But it was a lot of fun. There is a rotating trophy, so right now the police department still has possession of that. We'll see what happens next year. See if perhaps the fire department can come back and perhaps win. Of course, we always have the pig races. We have the pig races every year. Those are, again, our big crowd favorite, probably our biggest crowd drawer of the event. The most often asked question I got on Saturday was, what time are the pig races? Mm-hmm. That's what people want to see. Of course, we've got some great sponsors. A lot of Apex companies come in. We get a proclamation from the governor. We are a state championship, which again, that's what allows our champion to go to the American Royal National and also to qualify for the Jack Daniels International in Lynchburg, Tennessee. So we get that proclamation each year from the governor. These are some of the businesses and chamber members that have participated through the years. We try really hard to use Apex businesses and have Apex businesses involved. This is an Apex event. We know it's triangle-wide, it's even regional, but it's still Apex, and we try to get as many Apex-related companies to be a part of it as we can. And by the way, there's a handout I think you've got all this information. Just an idea, we've raised over $190,000 for charity in the 6 years of the Peak City Pig Fest. Our main beneficiary is Western Right Crisis Ministry. We've given them a total of $45,000 over the last 6 years. And others that we've helped. I will mention that you see Operation Barbecue Relief on there. Operation Barbecue Relief is a national group. They are currently in Houston feeding storm victims and volunteers. We have several of our Rotary members there who are also cook team members out in Houston. And our club also gave them financial support as well. And this year, for the first time, we're going to be awarding 2 scholarships to 2 Apex High School seniors for college. So that was one of our goals when we first started the club and started Pig Fest, and we're finally at a point where we can do those scholarships. So we're excited about doing that this year. Mark your calendar, next year, June 15th and 16th of 2018. We're excited about bringing the Bone Sucking Sauce Peak City Pig Fest back to Apex for a 7th year. We are on the national radar, just so you know that. As far as the barbecue world is concerned, I always have a waiting list of cook teams, and I always have a waiting list of judges. And we get great publicity for our town. And so, just so you know, we are on the barbecue radar when it comes to barbecue competitions. So again, thank you for your support. We look forward to working with all of your folks again next year, and having as many of you who can participate either as anything but judges or maybe even trained barbecue judges. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. That's good. Yeah, and I especially like how much goes for the charities and the local participation. I'm very, very proud of that. Second presentation tonight is Diane Kinn on the recently hired Planning Department employees.
All right, good evening. I'd like to introduce you to our new senior planner, Sarah Rayfield, and our new planner, Lauren Stoudemire. Sarah comes to us from Savannah, Georgia, where she worked in the private sector and for Chatham Area Transit. She attended UNC Greensboro for undergrad and received her master's in community planning from UNC Charlotte. And Sarah's worked in the planning field for 15 years and is AICP certified. Lauren comes to us from Villa Park, California. She's worked in the private sector and for the City of Brea's planning department. She went to California State University, Fullerton, and for undergrad, and she studied urban planning there. She's been with the town of Apex since January as a planning technician, and we're happy to promote her to planner at this time. We're excited to have them both on our staff, and you'll see them presenting at a future meeting.
Very good. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here.
All right, with presentations complete, we now move to the time of consent agenda. This is a time where we consider routine items, typically non-controversial items. If anyone on the council chooses to pull something off for further discussion, they certainly may do so. So at this time, I'll ask the council if there is a motion to approve the consent agenda or if there is an item that needs to be pulled first.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, consent agenda is passed unanimously. We now move to setting of the regular agenda. I'm not familiar with any changes that we need to make, so I'll ask the council if there's any suggestions to make or if there's a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Make a motion that we approve as submitted.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. All right, that passes unanimously. We now move into the time of public forum. Public forum is where, once a month, we hear from you, the citizens. You get to come up here and use your 3 minutes to tell us what it is that is important to you. So at this time, I will ask for the list. Great. Let's see. Okay. So public forum, I have 3 people who have signed up. Charles Sandhofer, Brett Gant, and Alexa Wolf. If you could come up in that order. Mr. Sandhofer, you're up first. And while he's coming up, I'll remind everyone this is a 3-minute session. There's green, yellow, and red lights, and at the red light, I will politely ask you to complete immediately. Thank you, Mr. Sandhofer. You have the floor. Please state your name and address.
Charles Sandhofer, 1490 Orchard Villas Avenue in Apex. Well, I live in Orchard Villas condominium. I've been here speaking to you before, and tonight I've got a couple of things that I'd like to say. One is that I wish I was representing all of the townhomes and all of the homeowners that don't have a bag on their lawnmower. That we are currently paying for bulk trash and yard waste. Our condominium, unfortunately, has got street numbers, so therefore you people end up billing us every month for yard waste. We have no yard waste at all. Never expect to. Secondly, I'd like to make a request that the truck no longer comes by. It only has shown up within the last, I guess, few months since I raised the question as to why our residents were paying for yard waste if the truck never even came by and we didn't have any yard waste. The answer was that it was a service of the city. As being a service of the city, I would also like to make a request that the council and whoever does it make the yard waste and the other, trash pickup and this kind of thing part of the actual tax bill. For us retired citizens and this kind of thing, it gives us the advantage of saying that, okay, this is a tax deductible item. It would be a tax deductible for all of the townhomes that are in town. I realize that, that might not be a big deal, but right now, we're going to end up spending, as far as the association is concerned, the unit owners, we've got 85 unit owners and an aggregate of close to $7,000 in order to pick up probably less than 6 Christmas trees, which will necessitate coming by with a chipper truck. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sandhofer. Mr. Gant?
Brett Gant, 1006 Cuttington Court. Hi, I live in Whitehall Manor neighborhood, and I want to talk about Apex Police today a little bit. So, my experience in my neighborhood as well as personally has been nothing but great with the police. They've been responsive to issues we've had about parking and speed going through the neighborhood and everything. And personally, they've been very friendly and welcoming to me. But our neighborhood is right next to the Shangri-La Mobile Home Park, which has a high Hispanic population. And I'm concerned, in light of today's decision about the DACA, the deferred action, that there's going to be a fear from the residents in Shangri-La, the Hispanic residents, as well as Hispanic residents across Apex, that there may be some strife with the police and fear of the police. And I think that you guys and the police together can address some of these things before it becomes a problem. I've lived there 8 years in Whitehall Manor and 6 years on the HOA. I've had no problems, no complaints with the Shangri-La residents next door. And except for the occasional, on Halloween, they come trick-or-treat, and we had the best candy in our neighborhood, so that's kind of, makes sense they would come trick-or-treat there. But I think the two suggestions I have for the council and the police would be to increase community policing with a focus on the Hispanic population going forward, now that there's a concern with some of the kids with their immigration status, as well as some clear guidelines for the police that the focus would be on violent crimes, domestic issues, drug-related issues, and things related to public safety, and not the immigration status of these kids. Like I said, my experience living in Whitehall Manor next to Shangri-La is that the Hispanic residents I've interacted with, whether illegal or not, don't seem to be any more likely to commit crimes. And so, I think the focus on public safety versus immigration is an important one going forward, and especially in the next few months when this issue is in the news a lot. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gant. And Alexia Wolf?
My name's Alexia Wolf, and I live at 1409 Wimberley Road. I emailed all of you to send you a little preview of what I was going to talk about, but my family and I have lived there for, about 30 years. My husband's been there, and our property's been on the market for multiple years now, and during this time we've had a couple contracts and multiple buyers. Contracts didn't go through due to density issues, and in the beginning of this journey we were told that the town would support 3 or 4 houses per acre on our property. And now we're just being told 1. And that's really difficult from a builder standpoint, because they need more money per housing than just 1 house per acre. We live right next door to Taylor Morrison, where they're building hundreds of houses, and I know that they have high density there, and our family just feels that it needs a gradual transition there from the high density, and then us is none. It's really changed since we've lived there. Lots of traffic, lots of construction, and we just want the same opportunity that our neighbors were given, that we can move and we can feel comfortable and our family can prosper.
All right.
What is your address? I'm sorry.
1409 Wimberley Road.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Wolf. All right, having worked through the list of public forums, I will close the public forum now. And at this time, if you'll notice on your agenda, we have a little bit out of the ordinary, but we have a closed session scheduled here for us to go seek legal advice from the town attorney. I can't predict how long that will be. I expect it to be more than 3 minutes and less than 30, but it's hard to tell in between. At this time, I'd like to ask if there is a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
And a second? Okay, great. Any discussion? All in favor of going into closed session, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say no. All right, we're in closed session. We will come back present.